Okay, so this is Justin for the Final Fur graphics. So the first thing here was the skybox terrain and the pre-made models. So I'll go through the pre-made model tools real quick. So the first step was the unit box, just creating the vertices and the triangles. Next was the unit box with the wrapped textures, so went through that. The skybox, of course, which is basically the texture one up there, just with inverted triangles going through it. Then there was the pyramid here, just setting that up. Then there was the pyramid with the texture on it, of course. And then, of course, the sphere, which was a little bit more intensive. So first doing the vertex positions here with each H-slice and V-slice, and then, of course, the winding here. So that is that. Next up, let's make sure it was the load files. So that would be in the DirectX app. So I loaded two different kinds of new models here. So the first one was obviously the model that you gave to us. Actually, I should say I loaded, so two extras. So I loaded a top of a tank and the bottom of the tank, and created new models from those. So that's working. And then, of course, getting textures, that works as well. Creating models from these pre-made models also obviously is going to work. Let me make sure everything's scaled and properly colored, so that's good. I guess for this part here, I will just go ahead and show it real quick. Okay, so this is the scene. So I guess I'll go through what's happening real quick. So this tank here on the left, this red one, is just using the color light. The tank over here with the texture on it is using the texture and color light and has multiple meshes associated with it. So that would be the bottom part here with the treads, and then this top part. So both of these are separate graphics objects. This top one here is just using the set texture that sets it to all of it, and then the bottom one is setting individual meshes on this graphics object down here. So that's working. The same thing goes for this cottage over here. So as you can see, it's using a red brick texture for the bottom. It's using a gray brick texture on top, but then I set the lighting to be a little bit green on it. It's also using a black chimney. And the light's not coming over here, but it's using a different texture for the door as well. And then obviously you can see the sphere over here, so that's all good. And then the pyramid here, and everything is working with lighting. I think the light will get over to the pyramid. You can kind of tell. You can see like underneath here it's darker. So I wasn't able to get multiple lights in just because of the other classes I was taking. Just ran out of time. I should also talk about the terrain. So the terrain is using the height map that we've put in, and it's also using a texture, which can also be repeated. Obviously, the texture on it can be repeated. But other than and then of course the skybox that you can see. So that is that. Believe that's everything to talk about in the actual scene. So that was here, this second part, just setting up the scene. Like I said, I didn't have multiple light sources, just did not have enough time to get that in. One last thing I forgot to mention. The fog is working. I set it up with some of the objects, so you can see the tank here. changes fog as you get further away from it, and obviously it's gone when you get really close to it. And then it also works for the this cottage as well. So if you get super far away from it, that works as well. So the fog also is in there. Okay. One light source is moving. Okay. Fog judiciously used, which not there. The mirror effect is not there. Oh, I have to show you the mirror from last week. Let's reference. So I'll just show that it actually, the mirror actually works. It's just not in that particular scene. So once this goes ahead and builds, so you can see it's working good there with the mirror, and then obviously nothing back here, and it's back with the mirror. So that's all good. Next up, pre-made models. I showed you pyramid and sphere. The plane. Oh yeah, I'll show you the plane. So the terrain actually has a class that I set up for it. So it basically just holds a model pointer to the plane, a render, and then a get function for it. And then here in the terrain model class, I'll just kind of scroll through this. The constructor here is creating the mesh, winding it, setting normals, and then of course the render function and the get terrain function. So there's that. Let's see. Skybox. So Skybox is still just part of the model tools class. I didn't have time to actually separate it out into its own class. I'm sure there's like a good reason to put it in its own class, but I just left it here within the model tools. So there's that. So just sets up all the vertices and then winds them. So let's see. All of them are using the newest version of standard vertex. The model class. I'll go through model class real quick. Here it now has the mesh num property for setting multiple meshes within a single model. Here, so it's now got the unit box, the textured unit box, the pyramid, the sphere, skybox, and the get mesh count and get. I think this one was already given to us, but get mesh count, and then here in the model CBP. Let's see. Yeah, so here's the new switch statement for that. I believe this was already given to us. Private load from GPU. Yeah, so all of this stuff here is pretty much given to us. Let me just make sure. Yeah. So model class. Skybox class, like I said, didn't have that. That's just part of the model tools. The terrain model class, should go to that. Oh, I actually went through this already, so that's all good. The terrain class is just I called it the flat plane, so it's fairly similar to the other one. The only difference, of course, is the constructor. It just creates a flat plane and then renders it. So that's all good. Next up was the shader classes associated with the HLSL files. So I'll just kind of scroll through them pretty quickly. We have the shader base class along with its CPP, so that's fairly simple. The shader color, which was, I think, given to us. So there's that guy. The color light, so we added the SynCam matrices, light parameters, and material, and then of course all of the structs that go along with these, and then of course the CPP, setting everything up, setting the cam matrices, the sets, send world and material, and then of course adding in the set to context to the vertex shader and pixel shader. So I believe that's good. The shader texture, similar story, just without the lighting, just with the texture. So I'll go and scroll through this, setting all the cam matrices, the world color, and setting to context. And then lastly, of course, the shader texture plus light, all working together. So the send world and material, we had a send light parameters, and of course the set fog parameters within that. So there was the fog parameter struct also within this, and then everything else that came through with it. And I'll just go and scroll through this so you can see this. Similar story, the set to context now has a lot more stuff in it. The send camera matrices, all of the sets. So that should be good. Next, we have the color and texture. Oh, I have to go through the HLSL files. So texture light here has the material, Phong, the model, directional light, point light, spotlight, the sampler, the different buffers. So now we added one for the fog parameters here. Let's see. All of this should have been very similar. I think we added the normals and the text coordinates though. Let's see. Yeah, and then this part here was adding in the fog in addition to the lighting from the different ambient, diffuse, and specular. So that's good. I'll just kind of scroll through the other ones because they were just chopped down versions of the texture light. So that shouldn't be too bad. We didn't touch color plus, symbol color 3, color selected, color light was one that we did. So everything here should have been fairly similar or not changed at all, I do believe. Cool, and I think that's, yeah, those are the three. So next, they work with the perspective camera, Phong illumination's got that. Okay, spherical fog is in the game. Okay. Okay, graphics objects I should show. So, of course, we had the base one, which doesn't really do much. We had the light color that was changed. And, of course, we had the set color, which sets all of the meshes of a oh shoot, what was it? I think it was the pointer. I'll just look at this real fast. Yes, of the model, it sets all of the colors of the model to be that one color that was passed in. Otherwise, if you give it an int as well, you will specify which of the 4 meshes you want to set that color to. So like I demoed before, the cottage has different mesh colors associated with it. Light color.h, I should just scroll through that. CPP along with it. The set ambient, all of the sets for the lights, graphics object texture, here with the .h. So that's fairly straightforward. The texture light as well, with the different set textures and the individual mesh numbers, the ambient diffuse specular, texture pointers, and then of course the CPP bringing it all together. So yes, and like I showed before, I guess this is just for all of them. It just goes through and sets all of the textures, sorry, all of the ambient of this texture to be what was passed in, and it does the same for the diffuse and the specular and the texture, of course. So that's that. Like I showed before, the mirror, it said that it was optional, not required as part of the actual thing, but I showed that, so that's all good. And then DirectX app changes should just show how that's been sort of cleaned up. So we have in the init demo, we just are creating all of the textures, the models, the shaders, and then of course below all those, creating all the graphics objects, so the sphere, the skybox, the terrain, the cottage with the fog, the spinning cube, the pyramid, the first tank, the second tank, and then setting the world positions of all of them, creating the world matrices and then setting the world matrices, and then of course the camera stuff. And then in the update scene, all that was there was the spinning cube, and then in the draw scene, of course, updating the light, working with the skybox whenever the shaders change, setting those to context. So then the pyramid, setting those and rendering it, the terrain, rendering that, the tanks, or this is the colored tank, the cottage, rendering the spinning cube here, the textured tank, and then switching the swap chain. So that's way less stuff than what we originally started in. So init demo is exactly that, asset loading, and then draw scene was setting to context and rendering. So that, I do believe, is all of it. Thank you very much.